Karen Reed delightfully throws some shade at Elizabeth Banks earlier today on the Howie Carr Show. Plus, she reveals that she still hasn't gotten her car back. This and much, much more in today's video. Hello, and welcome back, roommates, to another titillating edition of Alexa's Room, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, and we are not law enforcement. We are just people. People who have opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, including Karen Reed making her first on-camera appearance since she was acquitted back in June for the unaliving of her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. So yesterday, news broke that Elizabeth Banks will be playing Karen Reed in an upcoming Amazon limited series. Yes, the same Elizabeth Banks who directed the disaster that was Charlie's Angels 2019, otherwise known as the movie that made people nostalgic for Kristen Stewart blinking. So this series is based off of a podcast called Karen, which I have never heard of until this news literally was released. This podcast was created by Law and Crime and Wondery, which I've now learned Wondery, I think, is owned by Amazon. So all of the things are starting to make sense. And Law and Crime, if you are not familiar, is essentially the slightly more attractive brother of Court TV. So take this all as you will. And in true Hollywood fashion, as we were learning of this news, so was Karen. So
I got to ask you. I read yesterday that they've Elizabeth Banks is going to play you in the movie, and I said, how are is this the same movie that you sold the rights to? What's the story?
You know what, Howie? I probably read that the same time you did, give or take a couple minutes. I have nothing to do with that. It's not authorized by me in any way. There is a more to this story. I won't say another side. I think that the public at large knows this story. They know the truth, but there's a lot more to it than what I think Elizabeth Banks knows at this point. But I've never spoken to her. This is not the authorized. I have not blessed this. No.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: if it's not too catty a question, she's 52 years old. You're 45. I mean, how do you feel about her, an older woman, playing you?
Well, this happened. This nightmare started when I was 42. So she'd be playing someone 10 years younger, which I'm not an ageist in any way, but I would like to see this if it were to come to life on a big screen or on a small screen. I'd love for supporters of mine and people who believe in the truth of this to know more than what Elizabeth Banks knows.
And it's really her story to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is Karen Reed's story to tell. It's not Hollywood's story to make up and to fill in blanks that they want to fill in, to take a poetic license, a literary license, movie license. It really is Karen Reed's story to tell. And so it's a little bit of a shame that she was never even consulted, never even contacted. Like she said, we read about this.
It was totally new when you read it yesterday.
Yeah. I had heard through the grapevine that she was interested, but I would think she'd have reached out to us. She knows who our contacts are in California. Yeah, we're not hard to find.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't remember Elizabeth Banks ever posting on TikTok or speaking out about this case. I know Bill Nye the Science Guy was captured wearing a free Karen Reed t-shirt at one point, so maybe stick a wig on him, I don't know. But honestly, I think a much better pick to play Karen would be Kate Mara. She's Rooney Mara's sister. She's been in a couple of indie films. She was also in Pose, and she's a fantastic actress, has a lot of really good range. She kind of resembles Karen a little bit, I think, with the high cheekbones. Really underrated actress. And she's 42. She's 42. So if anybody on the casting team for the film that Karen has given her blessing to, take note and maybe hit up Kate Mara if she's interested, in my opinion. But let me know who you think would be a better casting choice for Karen Reed in her upcoming film. Also, Karen, you can be as ageist as you want, girl. You look fabulous. You look fantastic, and you deserve to have a hot smoking actress play you in a film that's been signed, sealed, delivered, stamped of approval by you. You're allowed to throw all the shade that you want to. So aside from Karen Reed throwing a little bit of shade at Elizabeth Banks. She also revealed she still has not gotten her Lexus back.
But did you get your car back yet?
I don't have my car back yet. I don't. I do not have the car.
It's not for lack of trying.
Not for lack of trying, right?
Why won't they give you back your car?
I mean, it's just logistics at this point. There's so much water under the bridge that it would require Adam Lally or somebody from the DA's office reaching out to us.
Even though it was reported earlier this month that Beverly Canola Oil granted this request for the prosecution to turn over her phone and her SUV. And here we are, exactly 1 month from the day that this motion to return her property was filed by her attorney, Stephen C. Abuzang. Maybe all the nicotine finally got to Adam Lally's brain. He had a false memory of possessing these items and was like, oh, in between cigarette breaks, he's like, oh yeah, I totally forgot, man. Maybe there's something stronger in them cigarettes that we don't know about. I don't know. Let's be real. That car's probably being used as an Uber XL right now. So if you missed this interview, you didn't really miss too much. There wasn't a lot of new news that was divulged, except I thought this one little tidbit towards the end was pretty interesting. Karen and her team had filed a motion to retrieve surveillance footage from Brian Albert's house because they believed that he had a Ring camera on his property.
Let me just ask you about that Channel 4 story. They Channel 4 reported, I think the day after, that the cops had Ring camera
Correct.
video.
Right.
A total lie, and they never retracted it.
Yeah.
For 2 years. What do you think,
Yeah.
that,
Well,
Karen?
what I think is that is what they were actually told.
Correct.
I don't think the error was on Channel 4's behalf. It was what they were told at the scene.
Yeah, they didn't
and
make
I think
it
I think it existed. We made a motion in court for Brian Albert's Ring camera. We believe he had some brand of surveillance at his house, and we know there was one across the street. So yeah, I think it actually existed. It ceases to exist probably now, but
But they said it showed you hitting
right.
John O'Keefe.
Right. They had me buried for
which
a while.
was that was the abject lie.
Pin it on the girl because obviously, I mean, you have to be an absolute moron. And I'm just going to say, you have to be absolutely naive to the fact that if you had concrete evidence like that available to you, Karen Reed would have taken a plea deal. She would have said, yes, I'm guilty. You got me dead to rights. Even if one camera wasn't working for whatever reason, you would definitely have a clear shot from Kelleher's house. And the fact that none of those pieces of evidence ever revealed themselves, they just both conveniently disappeared. Like Brian Higgity Diggity's SIM card on that military base. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's where this Ring camera footage is now. It's doing push-up there with his SIM card. I don't know, but she would have taken a plea deal. She would have had no choice because the evidence would have been clear as day that an accident occurred. Why would you withhold that evidence purposely? Unless you had something to hide. But we can keep going around. I'm just happy that she looks fantastic. You know, I'm sure that obviously every day is a struggle. I hope she's taking care of herself mentally. Her skin is glowing. She looks great. I love the little outfit. She looks adorable. And she has every right to throw shade at Hollywood because Hollywood sucks, man. She has every right to throw shade at Elizabeth Banks. Hopefully the film that Karen Reed has given her a blessing to, and I imagine is going to be involved in some sort of the production aspect of, I hope that they capture her story accurately. And I hope that more and more people learn about all of the tomfoolery and corruption that is going on in Norfolk County. I will link the entire interview in my description box below so you can listen to it commentary free. It's about an hour long. And again, aside from Howie Carr promoting his new book about Norfolk County corruption, you really didn't miss too much. There was no big new news. We already know Alan Jackson is joining Karen Reed's civil team. So if you want to check it out, you can do so in my description box below. With that being said, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video from me. And make sure you hit that like button. Because that tells the YouTube algorithm that other people might want to watch this too. And if they do, that's great. And if they don't, life goes on. And we have coffee. And that's all that really matters. So thank you so much for watching. And until then,
I'm going to repeat this constantly. Nothing's off the table, and no one's off the table.